What up, y'all? It's the Robot Watcher. Grab your binoculars, and I'm back once again, fresh off of GHOE. My bad. Took a little break last week, but fresh off of GHOE, off of homecoming. Anti-Aggie Pride, throw it up. But let's, grab your binoculars. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Jalen Milroe. If you don't know, I have been doing a giveaway for about 5 videos. Once we get to 1,000 subs, I'm giving away 2 free NFL tickets for you and a +1. I'll pick the game that I could afford, my boy. It ain't gonna be no Chiefs and Cowboys. You feel me? But I'm giving away free tickets. You'll get some pretty good seats. You won't be sitting at the top of the section. But all you got to do is like this video, subscribe to the YouTube, follow my Instagram and my TikTok at The Real Ball Watcher, and you're entered into the giveaway. We'll do a random raffle, and I'll give away those tickets. So whenever we hit 1K subs, the next video, I'll be picking the winner and giving those tickets away. So let's get into the video. Now, I hope I'm not too long-winded, but you know how I get about these quarterbacks. These videos can get a little long. Anyways, we're going to be talking about Jalen Milroe, 6'3", not 6'3", 6'3", 225. He's only 21 years old. He's in his 4th year at Bama. I think he redshirted the first year. But we're not even going to cover no stats. Let's get straight into the nitty-gritty. His physicality as a runner is the first strength that jumps off to me when I'm watching his tape. You're going to be able to engine an offense around his legs as a primary function of moving the ball if you want to. Kind of how the Eagles do it, where they used to do it a lot more with Jalen Hurts. Kind of how the Bills do it in the playoffs with Josh Allen. They don't do it much in the regular season so he doesn't get hurt. But his physicality and able to get on design runs and have pullers in front of him and, lower his shoulders if you need to get tough yards, he'll be able to do that. But also, next strength, he has amazing speed to me. Let me not say amazing. He's not Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have Lamar Jackson speed, but he has really, really good speed to beat guys around the corner, beat guys at angles that you would think that they have to tackle. He has the elusiveness to get around guys, not necessarily shifty, juking guys or like Lamar, but just to simply beat guys around the tackling angle that they have with his feet. He's not putting too many moves on. He's either running straight or running around you, or he's lowering his shoulder. But he has the speed to break away in the open field. I mean, there's a couple read option plays where you get some very, very long rushing touchdowns because, I mean, if you have one guy to beat, Jalen Milroe is most likely going to beat him. It's like he gets faster once he's getting chased for some reason. I don't know what he'll run. I'll be surprised to see what he runs at the combine. I'm probably guessing around 4.5, mid 4.5s, somewhere in there. I don't think he's faster than he'll have like a faster speed than somebody like Anthony Richardson. But I think he'll have pretty good speed. He kind of reminds me of Cam Newton's speed. Cam Newton wasn't slow. I mean, he got hawked from behind here and there later on in his career. But Cam Newton wasn't slow, especially at the start of his career when he was much slimmer. He was able to get out of there. Well, not much slimmer. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like he slimmed down later in his career. But he was able to get out of there and get long rushing touchdowns. So those are the first 2 strengths you have to talk about when you're talking about Jalen Milroe. The next thing that I want to talk about is he's just a playmaker and a creator. And this kind of goes into that running ability. But it's a little bit different because a lot of the guys, they drop their eyes and they're immediately into their scramble or they're immediately into the run, and you're leaving meat on the bones, you're leaving the pocket too early, things like that. Jalen Milroe, while he has sometimes left the pocket too early, while he has sometimes dropped his eyes, when he's scrambling, most of the time, it's going to be a big play first off. That's the first thing. That's the baseline that we have to set. When Jalen Milroe scrambles, it's most likely going to be a big play. You're most likely going to move the chains. You're most likely going to get some electricity volted into your offense, into the stadium, and get your adrenaline pumping, get the momentum on your side because he's just that much of a playmaker with his legs. Whether it's with his power, whether he's breaking tackles, throwing guys off of him, whether he's running around guys, getting past guys to the edge for a long run, something like that. He's going to be able to provide that electricity and that spark to your offense to get something going. When you don't have any excitement or any lulls in your game, he's going to bring that excitement and bring the energy back up. But he also, not every time, but he also looks, when he's scrambling, he's looking to pass. There's been plenty of plays where he's just running parallel to the line. He's able to find a guy across the field, open, short, and he's able to create a big play, chunk play out of it, or he's scrambling away from guys, breaking tackles. He's able to find a guy downfield for a touchdown. He's not necessarily just looking to run, which is good. I like my quarterbacks scrambling to pass. that's what Lamar Jackson has improved on a lot, in my opinion, and why he's so good now as a passer. Because not only was he just a good pocket passer, but now he's scrambling to pass most of the time. Running is his last resort. He gets a lot of rushing yards because they have a lot of design runs in it and stuff like that. But usually when he's running around in the pocket, scrambling, using his pocket movement, he still has his both hands on the ball, patting, waiting to be able to let go of the ball. He gets a lot of big plays out of that. I mean, shout out to Isaiah Likely. He's been his safety valve on plays like that, especially in the red zone, all season, which has helped both of them take a leap offensively and their offense take a leap. So Milroe has shown the ability, not all the time, but he's shown that he is looking to scramble to pass sometimes, or a good majority of times, enough for me to put it down as a strength and not just drop his eyes and run and leave meat on the bones. He's able to get big plays with his arm while also out of structure, which is a good thing, which is a superpower if you ask me. That's what I love the most from quarterbacks. Don't just create plays out of structure, but look to make plays with your arm out of structure also. Keep the offense going. But next thing I want to talk about, he throws downfield a lot. I put it on here as bombs over Baghdad. He dropping more bombs than the U.S. government over the Middle East. Like, dog, he's going to test the defense deep, and he doesn't care who's there. I should say, matter of fact, I'm going to change it to, no, downfield bombs. That's what he is, man. But he's able to just throw it deep. Whether there's a man on him, he's going to give him a chance. Whether there's a speedster, he's just able to place it into the bucket a lot of times. I mean, we've seen what he's been doing with Ryan Williams recently. I think that's his name, the 17-year-old. But yeah, so he's going to be able to stretch the defense. You're going to have to cover every inch of the field against him, which kind of goes into my next point. He has the arm to make any throw. The windows that he throws into sometimes, and I was watching this game a lot. Like, all right, he's throwing it not necessarily crossbody off platform, things like that, but he's throwing it from the far hash a lot, and it's getting there right in time, right in the bucket. He's throwing it into a very tight window with 2-3 defenders, but it's not necessarily thrown into triple coverage because the window is there. He just has the velocity and the arm talent to get it there in time where his receiver can make the catch. He's throwing it back shoulder 40 yards downfield to Jermaine Burton against, I want to say it was Texas or somebody like that, and he's able to drop it into the bucket because it's back shoulder, but right onto the shoulder where nobody can get it but the receiver. He has the arm talent to put it everywhere. Now, he's not C.J. Stroud arm talent. He could throw whatever he wants. He doesn't have that placement. He's not hitting the keyhole. But when he's in rhythm, when he's on fire, he can hit the door, maybe the doorknob, because he is really good, which also goes into my next point. And a lot of these points are running into each other. Goes into my next point. He also throws with a lot of touch and placement. With guys with big arms like him, especially like when Cam Newton was coming out, Anthony Richardson, they throw with so much strength and velocity that it's hard to catch a pass sometimes. I mean, we see it with Baker Mayfield. He loads up and put his whole body into it. But this guy, he actually throws with a lot of touch. There's a lot of lob passes. There are a lot of rainbow passes. There's a lot of things that just place right over the defender's head into the receiver's breadbasket. And that's what you like to see. You like him to be able to throw a changeup, to throw an off speed or something like that, to put it in the window downfield that you can't necessarily throw everything downfield as a piss missile. I know Anthony Richardson makes it look like you can whenever he's throwing downfield, but that's not what you always want. You want to be able to loft it. You want to be able to put it over defenders' heads, and he's shown the ability to do that. Not as much in the intermediate game, like across the middle and things like that. A lot of times he's using velocity to win that way, but he's able to do it outside the numbers or very deep downfield when he's taking shots or guys has a guy beat. He's able to just drop it down right into their hands, and they're able to create a big play off of that. So just going all under that downfield bombs over Baghdad, all of that goes into it. He's going to be a really effective deep passer. He's going to have, with Jalen Milroe, your offense is going to have explosive plays, whether it's from his legs or from his arm. As simple as that, because he's going to be able to put it downfield. He's going to challenge guys downfield, especially if you have downfield winners. But even if you don't, if he has a guy he could trust to catch a 50-50 ball, he's going to go give it to him on that back shoulder. Or if you have a guy, like I said, that can beat downfield, he has the touch and placement to loft it over the defense's head and get a big 40, 60-yard gain off of it. But also, going to the previous points, he's just electric with his legs. So you're going to have an electric, explosive offense regardless with Milroe. One of the last things I want to talk about for strengths is his poise in the pocket. He surprisingly has good poise. I don't want to say pocket presence, awareness, or movement, but he has good poise. A lot of times when guys are bearing down on him, he's able to get the throw off from a good platform and take a hit. He knows he's going to eat a hit. He doesn't mind getting hit. I mean, we see it when he runs. So I think that's what a lot of the poise has to do with him being in the pocket. He doesn't look too panicked too often. There are times here and there, but he doesn't look too panicked too often. He knows the throw is there. He's going to be able to get it off, and he's not going to be trigger shy because a defender is in his face or anything like that. So I do like that poise in the pocket, which shows that he can improve in other areas if he needs to, which we'll get to soon. But overall, as you can see, most of his strengths are physicals. I forgot who it was I talked about last year that I was like, he's like a ball of clay. You can mold him into what you want to. That's kind of what Milroe is. He's a physical specimen, big arm, fast, strong, good frame. He has some of the things that you want to see in a good quarterback, like that poise in the pocket, from when the pressure's coming or he's about to get hit. The creation ability, not just looking to scramble and make plays, but also running to throw. And the touch and the placement that he has to be able to throw in off speed. Those things are good things you want in a quarterback. But most of the stuff is just his physical ability and what it'll provide to your offense and to the game. But with that said, let's get into the stuff that's not necessarily his game. First thing you have to bring up when comes to stuff that's not necessarily his game is his consistency at the things he's good at. He's not consistently scrambling to pass. Sometimes he does pull it down way too early and is missing open reads to scramble, which is also a point on here, but and not things like that. He's not always poised in the pocket. Sometimes he's kind of happy-footed. He's not sensing pressure well. He's getting kicked, things like that. Sometimes he's not necessarily he doesn't have the best touch and placement. He's air-mailing passes. He's throwing it, just air passes, things like that. He's not putting it in the right place for a receiver to get it, So you want to get his overall consistency and his strengths a lot better when it comes to that actual quarterbacking stuff, not just his physicals. But outside of, that's just obvious. He has to be more consistent. Most guys have to be more consistent. But now let's move into the stuff that I had to note that as a quarterback you don't want to see, and it's not necessarily his game. Sorry about my fibercloth. Whatever. First thing you got to mention is accuracy. Accuracy is, for guys like this, sometimes can be oversold but also underrated. Somebody like Anthony Richardson is a prime example. I was a big fan of AR coming out. I thought you could, whatever you wanted to do with him, you could do it. You just have to give him a minute to develop, give him reps. I don't think he should be benched. I think you should keep giving him reps and development. But that Colts offense is being held back mightily by his accuracy underneath it and intermediate. His accuracy is really, really bad. Jalen Milroe has better accuracy, but he also has these throws that he just misses. Now, sometimes, especially underneath, he's overselling guys. He's, overshooting them. He's making them jump up to get it on check downs, things like that. And it's just out of their reach. I think a lot of that is because sometimes he doesn't rotate his hips. He's just throwing all arm, kind of like how Josh Allen used to in Wyoming. He's just all arm, all arm. I think if he rotates his hips and get his feet in the bottom half into it more, he'll be able to make a lot more accurate passes underneath. But that's better, easier said than done. You have to get coached into that. And you have to learn to do those things. So his accuracy, intermediate, deep is good, but he does have those errant throws. But intermediate, short, It's just, even when it's a catchable pass, sometimes it's just behind the guy, stopping their momentum. Sometimes it has to make them go up and jump and get it. It's a little bit low. You want him to put it on their chest a lot more than he does. It might hit their hands. It's like, hey, if it hits your hands, you want to catch it. But why not just put it on their chest so, give them the best ability to make some yak out of it. So I want to see him improve his accuracy. That's something big that he has to improve because that can hold your offense back a lot. Next thing I want to talk about, which is a really rare flag for me, as I'm watching games, I'm like, man, I was watching his games last year. Not as much this year, but last year, he waits to see guys open a lot. And I'm not saying he doesn't throw with anticipation. He does sometimes, back to that consistency point. You want him to be more consistent when throwing with anticipation. But there are times where he's just waiting to see guys open. And it'll be an interception because the window is closed already. And at the next level, the windows are only going to get tighter and close a lot faster. So if he's struggling with seeing guys open and throwing interceptions at the college level because he's waiting too long, he's just kind of pumping. And then he sees them open. Now I'm going to throw in this. He's able to rotate and make a play, or the corner is able to get back in the phase, make a play, something like that. The linebacker, whoever it is, we've seen it all from him. In the NFL, it's going to be it's going to be much worse, especially for guys like Panthers fans who know playing guys like Jesse Bates, Tyrann Mathieu, these DBs that we have and these safeties in our division. It's going to be even harder to wait to see guys open and not have a turnover-worthy play if you're doing that. No matter how hard, fast, or deep you throw the ball, you got to throw with anticipation most of the time to get a good pass because these windows are going to be much tighter and faster closing at the next level. It's simple like that. You're going to create a lot of turnovers doing that. Next thing I want to talk about, his pocket presence and feeling pressure. Now, when he does feel the pressure, he's shown good pocket presence to step up, move, and sometimes still stay in the pocket to throw. It could get better. Like I said, sometimes he does, which is the next point, which I'll just go ahead and put up here. Sometimes he does drop his eyes and he's looking to scramble before, he's even making a pass. But a lot of times he's not even feeling the pressure. He's kind of gliding into the pressure. That's not what I want to use, but he's going into the pressure when he's kind of looking downfield, reading the defense, not feeling where it's coming from. He's not stepping up in the pocket sometimes when you want him to. A lot of time he does because he steps up to escape, which is good. But sometimes he kind of loops out, trying to create a play with his legs, things like that. Sometimes when the pressure is coming from the outside, he doesn't sense it to loop out. Like when there's a free blitzer, he doesn't see the blitzer, and the blitzer's able to get to him. I want to say it was a Texas A&M game where the prime example where it's like, hey, man, you didn't see him creep forward. Okay, cool. You didn't feel him bearing down on you at the end of the day. You got to have one of them. You got to see, all right, he's creeping. I'm going to call him out. Or if you don't see him, eventually you got to feel that, hey, this guy is coming free, and I need to move and make a play. He's just standing there like a statue and getting blown up. And I want to say he fumbled on that play also. So you got to be able to feel pressure. You got to be able to be accurate. You got to throw with anticipation. And I want to talk about he misses open reads and scramble, but sometimes he's just missing open reads, period. There's guys underneath that he could have dumped the ball down to. There's guys over the middle he could have threw it to, and he's using it to still scramble out. I want to say there's one play specifically that I'm going to use where he was in the red zone, and he's staying in the pocket. He's telling his receivers to go somewhere, but Jermaine Burton breaks off into the back of the end zone wide open over the middle if you throw with anticipation. Not even with anticipation. He was just open. But you throw with velocity. But for some reason, he's looking in that direction. He still turns it down to scramble out and then tell Jermaine Burton to cut back out. And it's like if you just threw it the first time, you have a touchdown. There are times where he's, like I said, underneath routes on mesh. Things like that, where he's turning it down to scramble, not getting many yards, or maybe he is creating plays. Jaden Daniels had problems with that too, and he's looked pretty good in the league. So it just depends. But when it comes to actually playing quarterback, the nuances, the skill set, not just the physicals, he has a lot of work to do. I can see him going back for a year and staying fifth year, kind of like how Jaden Daniels did, and coming out a lot better and more equipped to play quarterback with a skill set. And that could help him. He'd only be 22, 23 years old. That can help him. He'll still be a young guy that you could develop and mold. Or he can come out now. I think if you come out now, you maybe sit him a year or maybe sit him the first half of the season just so he's not thrown into there in the speed of the NFL defenses and windows and pressure packages, things like that, doesn't overwhelm him. So Jalen Milroe, at the end of the day, I like him as a prospect. I don't love him. But I see why people love him, if you get what I mean. You feel me? I'm not dogging on him. I think he's probably QB 3 in this class. Him and Shedeur flip-flop for me. But he's probably QB 3. Upside-wise, he's probably QB 1. But just playing quarterback, he's probably QB 3 in this class. In a pretty weak class. If he's there for Panthers fans, if he's there in the second round, I take him. Anywhere in the top 20, especially as a Panthers organization, I don't know if I'm taking them because we have a lot bigger holes than just the quarterback. That's probably not going to be the BPA. But in the second round, like a Jalen Hurts kind of scenario, I like it a lot. But, we'll see it when we get there. But let's get into his player build. Now, when it comes to Jalen Milroe's player build, we're going to go with a ball of lightning. The reason I say it's a ball of lightning instead of like a ball of clay or something like that, he has the electricity that while you're molding him, he's going to make plays. He can keep an offense, kind of like, we'll get into it. He can keep an offense going and churning while making bad plays and bad quarterback decisions. And, having bad quarterback play overall because of his legs, because kind of how Anthony Richardson is now. Since he's not one of my comparisons for him, we can use Anthony Richardson as a good example. Anthony Richardson has been terrible at quarterbacking this year, but he's able to keep his offense in games, and he's able to put points on the board because of his electricity, one, with his legs, and his downfield passing ability. He's able to just create chunk plays, big plays. I think Milroe can do that while working through the things that he needs to work through, kind of like a Josh Allen before he really broke out. Like I said, Anthony Richardson, something like that. A ball of lightning. You're going to mold him into something specific, but while you're molding him, he can still make these big game-changing plays to keep you in game while developing as a quarterback over time. Now, when it comes to his player build, his shades of, my bad. The first one I'm going to have is Jalen Hurts. I think this is a one-to-one great example. Guys who are not the best at playing quarterback, but have improved with work over time, going from literally being running backs to playing much better at quarterbacks. I think him in an Eagles-type offense where we're run first, we'll use our quarterback's legs first, and we're going to balance it out with the playmakers we have to take shots downfield. He has a much better arm than Hurts, so he'll be able to take plays, advantage of more plays like that, but also just dump it down, get these simple slants, screens, curls, digs, simple plays to get in our playmakers' hands in space, and then just bully guys at the line of scrimmage with our legs. I think a team like the Panthers would benefit a lot from that in the second round, just like the Eagles did. You have this great offensive line we have. You have Chuba Hubbard, who may not be back next year. Who knows? But either regardless, Jonathan Brooks is a really good back. Get another guy to, offset Jonathan Brooks, give him a breather. And you have a three-headed monster running downhill with the strength that they have. Jonathan Brooks is 6'2", 6'1". Jalen Hurts is 6'2", 225. He runs with power, speed. Both of those guys have breakaway speed and good contact balance. And whoever your third back is, whether it's Chuba has great contact balance, great power. That's going to be a great offense, and then you balance it off with maybe a Deontay Johnson, taking deep shots to Xavier Leggett. I want you to add more weapons if you're the Panthers, but an offense can work like that. We've seen it work for the Eagles. So I think that could be his ceiling almost, a Jalen Hurts-esque, a guy that can get you to a Super Bowl, maybe win it if he keeps improving and working on his game. But also a guy who could be really detrimental for you at quarterback sometimes. Next comparison I have is, how cliche it is, a Jaden Daniels. You put him in an offense, especially if he goes back here, put him in an offense where it's a very simple reads, not much responsibility, but you're able to, dump it off. You're able to just get him on screens, get him on 1-2 reads or run, things like that. I think it could work for you. I don't know. Jalen Daniels, we have to see how it goes after his rookie year. I don't think that offense is going to last for his whole career, prolong his whole career. We've seen how it worked for a while with Kyler, and then it didn't. And you have to get much more of a pro-style offense. So we'll see how it goes. We see how it was with Lamar. Get to the playoffs, and Greg Roman running this simple read, not really complex pass concepts and running the ball doesn't work out. So I think that could be a good comparison, especially if he goes back another year. But the last one I want to talk about is Justin Fields. This is kind of his floor. A guy where he needed to see guys open. He waited too long on reads. He has the arm talent, has the accuracy, has the touch, has the speed and the power to do all the things you want to see from explosive play. And as you can see, he's keeping the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was putting points up on the board for the Bears. Things like that, keeping them in games. Not, one of the worst offenses in the league with him, but he's not necessarily a quarterback where you're going to need him, rely on him to get you to the playoffs and beat other quarterbacks in the playoffs. If you get what I'm saying. He needs to work on his quarterbacking. He needs to work on throwing with anticipation. He needs to work on throwing with better accuracy, seeing guys open before they're open, throwing guys open if you need. I think Justin Fields is a good floor. Jalen Hurts is a good ceiling, maybe even more. But that's just me being modest. I didn't mean to knock that over. But I like him overall, man. I think, like I said, I think he's a good fit for the Panthers if he's in the second round. Let him sit a year, get him some more weapons, maybe sit half the year, and just rely on running the ball and dumping it off to your playmakers to take a shots deep. That could be your whole offense. So, I like Milroe, man. I like him. I don't love him. I like him. He's probably my QB3, maybe 4. But QB3 right now. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Let me not prolong it. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about Milroe in the comments. Where do you think will be a good fit for him? Do you think I'm kind of underselling him as a passer, as a quarterback overall, or what his impact could be? All of that. If you want to get in the giveaway, you know what to do. Like this video, subscribe to the YouTube. Go follow the Instagram and TikTok at The Real Ball Watcher. But that's all I got for you. Turn on your post notifications. I'll be here next week. I'm out.